What is going on, Jerome's? Happy Sunday. Your Minnesota Vikings have a number of very tough salary cap decisions to make with a number of their veteran players, and it sort of is what it is. And it's one of the reasons why we do say that the cap is a myth, because the Vikings are currently $24.4 million over the cap. They have to get underneath it by March 15th, the first day of the new league year. But they can do that by shedding some contracts that have little to no guaranteed money left in it. Now we could say, well, it's not a myth because you got to get rid of players. It is what it is. All right, and there's a reason why some of these toilet paper deals where the money is it's a 4 or 5 year deal, except there really is only guaranteed money in the first year. I mean, that's what happens. And then they put out balloon payments in terms of cap hits in the late season so that teams can make really easy decisions when it comes to players. And even though Kwesi is dealing with a little bit of a cap crunch from the Rick Spielman years, a lot of the extensions that Spielman signed are very, very manageable, are very palatable. So we're going to run through a number of the Vikings veterans and talk through situations, and we're going to predict if they stay or should they go, or extended, or restructured. So first up, Kirk Cousins. So Kirk signed a 1-year extension last offseason. This year comes in with a $36.25 million cap hit, $10 million base, and also he has a significant dead cap hit because it is fully guaranteed. Now, I think that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, they hitched the wagons to Kirk Cousins last offseason. Kirk proved them right this year. I think they'll extend him one more year to lower that $36 million cap hit number and give him some more guaranteed assurances in 2024. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, it doesn't preclude them from going after the quarterback of the future if the right one does present itself. Adam, Jerome, Ezekiel Thielen, $11.817 million base salary, nearly $20 million cap hit. And so the thing about Thielen is he had a great opportunity last year where Jefferson was that alpha wide receiver 1. Thielen was a clear wide receiver 2. He was getting the opportunities, getting single coverage, and he looked okay, but you could tell he wasn't Thielen, like he used to be. Now, the salaries for wide receiver 2s have skyrocketed, and is $11.8 million obscene for a wide receiver 2? No. But the question is Thielen wide receiver 2 or is he wide receiver 3? Like, is it KJ? Is a rookie TBD? Don't really know. Now, I don't think that Thielen, given his age and contract, has much trade value. But maybe a team out there would give up a 6th or 7th round pick to secure his services for a season or two, maybe work out a new deal, and maybe go from there. But I don't know. It's an awkward spot where Thielen, of course, is Mr. Minnesota, but the business is a business. Brian O'Neill come back from that torn Achilles. They can pare down his base salary to the bare minimum. They can free up quite a bit in restructure, in classic restructure. So I think that that's the route that they'll go. Now with Harrison Smith. Now this one's interesting because when Harrison signed his contract, he was the highest paid safety in league history. He's been lapped a couple times, but even though Harrison had 5 interceptions last season and looked pretty good, I mean, is he worth $14.7 million? We'll see. And you generally don't want to restructure guys that you're not sure if they're going to be here long term. So that's why you're fine restructuring O'Neill. But with Harrison, is it a approach about a pay cut? I don't know. They're going to have to handle this one delicately. Also, I think that Thielen could be in the pay cut conversation, but I don't think that Thielen or Harrison or Dalvin, it's already a rumor that he is not interested in a pay cut. And who would be? Right, especially after you sign that contract. But of all the veterans, I would like to see Harrison Smith return. I think that he could thrive in Brian Flores' scheme, especially once they allow him to blitz again like he did in the Zimmer era. So I would firmly want Harrison Smith back, but got to do something about his cap numbers. Za'Darius Smith, restructure candidate, has got 2 years left on his deal. Now, $9.45 million base, that ain't a lot. And in terms of talking about restructure, we could be talking about extension as well, where you have to weigh the way that Za'Darius looked the first half of the season, where he looked like a defensive player of the year candidate, versus the second half after he got dinged up. But can Za'Darius still bring it? And the fact that the Vikings are sticking with the 3-4 and Za'Darius as a stand-up outside linebacker would still have a lot of utility, I think it would make sense to keep 55 in purple for another season. Dalvin, $10.4 million base salary. Now, his dead cap number is going to go up $2 million because he's not going to pass the physical on the first day of his new league year. So $2 million of his base is going to become guaranteed because of the timing of his shoulder surgery. But I still think that this is a cut or trade situation. I think that Kwesi will want to move on, free up that cap space, or if you get a team that's willing to take on that contract for a 6th or 7th rounder, go ahead and do it. Now, I'm not under the illusion that Dalvin or Thielen would net a day 2 pick. That's not going to happen. But if you can get something for him, sure. Danielle, extend Danielle. So he's not obviously not going to play on a $4.9 million base salary, and you can do something to manipulate his cap hit this season. So extend him. He's still firmly in his prime. He's still that guy. He's still an absolute alpha edge rusher, and yeah, I think that he could shine in Flores' new scheme. So yes, extend Danielle Hunter forever. Kendricks. It's unfortunate, but Kendricks didn't really have a great season last year. Part of it is learning the new scheme. Part of it is age, but he's not worth the $9.15 million base salary, so I think that he's going to be cut. Diesel Dalvin Tomlinson. Now, he was due to have a $7.5 million dead cap hit if they didn't extend him after his contract voided. They pushed back that void date. I think it makes a lot of sense to re-sign him, so it'll bring that dead cap number down to 2.5, and then kick the can on the remaining 5. And I think that Dalvin, even though the Vikings defense struggled, Diesel Dalvin, when he was in the lineup, he did very good work. So I would like to re-sign Diesel Dalvin. Jordan Hicks, gone. CJ Ham, well, Chris Reed gone as well. So Chris Reed, a backup utility offensive lineman, but you can free up $2.5 million in cap space by moving on. Now you could potentially bring him back at a lower number. I would be open to that. And finally, CJ Ham. So CJ Ham, they're phasing out the fullback on offense, and CJ is going to be 30, but it just sucks where you have a guy who's a team dude. Yes, Minnesota kid, grew up in Duluth. So, yes, I understand the sentimentality. It's very similar to Adam Thielen, but you can free up $3 million in cap space by moving on. And even though CJ is a star on special teams and a special teams captain, I think you do potentially have to move on. All right, so again, these are not like out of the realm of possibility. And in fact, depending on what the extension is for Cousins, what the restructures for O'Neal and Za'Darius could be, and also what the pay cut restructure for Harrison could be, the Vikings could be freeing up around $55 million in cap space, which would put them firmly in the black and also allow them to make some moves in free agency. So that's it. Let's take a look at who should stay, who should go. In terms of some of the Vikings' larger veteran contracts, they're going to have to make a decision on. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. We'll support the work. Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.